do a barrel roll. What is going on, everybody? How are y'all doing? It's time for that Star Fox Zero official OBe1plays hype score. Let's talk about this game, man. Ever since this game was revealed at last year's E3, it has been the center of some controversial discussions. Them graphics, why do they look like that? The controls, are they any good with the motion controls? So let's talk about it, man. I have to say, when I first saw the game at E3, I was in the camp of Nintendo. Slow your roll. Y'all need to delay this game. Touch up the graphics. And guess what? Nintendo, they listen to your boy. I know Nintendo be watching me. They listened to OBe1 and they said, OBe1, Miyamoto, OBe1. He said, we need to delay the game, touch up the graphics. And that's what they did. So they delayed the game and touched up the graphics. And I have to admit, after playing through the game, shout out to Nintendo. They did give me a free copy of the game. The game looks better than the E3 build. If you've been watching any videos following up on this game, you've seen that they did touch up the graphics, and it does show that they took time and care to fine-craft this game, fine-tune this game, and give us a quality first-party Nintendo product. So in the graphical department, the game looks good. Now, it's not the most beautiful game you've ever seen. I still think some of the enemies, some of the environments still could have been touched up a little better, because I play games like Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U. It looks beautiful, and so it's not quite at the level of something like Mario Kart 8, but the game does look good. And what I like about the game is the frame rate is solid. I did hear about the Digital Foundry report that they were saying that sometimes the frame rate drops to 40s and 50s, but for me, I had no problems playing the game. As far as I didn't experience any major graphical bumps from playing the game from beginning to end. The game played good, and so the game is smooth, the graphics are good stuff, Nintendo. Now they touched up in the graphical department. Now the controls. This has been the center of the most controversy with this game, and I have to admit, y'all see the shirt that I have on? This is the Nintendo 64 shirt. Why? Because Star Fox on the Nintendo 64 was a solid game, the best Star Fox game in the series. And this game on the Wii U is sort of a reimagination of that game. A lot of similarities, but it's not exactly the same game. There are new enemies, different mechanics within the game, the little gyrocopter, and so they did add some new elements to the game. But the controls. This was me playing the game. Oh, this is awesome. Oh, this is frustrating. Oh, this is awesome. Oh, this is frustrating. The controls, in my opinion, did more damage than help to the game. There are some parts in the game where I think the controls were a little bit overly complicated, where I think it could have been a little bit more simplified and streamlined in some instances. Now, I do have to say this. You're probably like, oh, OBe1, it's because you don't use the gyro controls. You're not used to the gamepad. Homie, your boy plays Splatoon. I think I have over 700 hours in Splatoon. All gyro control, baby. And so I am very, very familiar with using motion controls on the gamepad. I be on that Splatoon all day, every day. But it's just some of the instances where the camera turns and then the control is turning, and then you have to look at the gamepad, and then you have to control the vehicle. And so you're doing like 5 things sometimes at one time. And I think it can get a little bit overcomplicated. Now, don't get me wrong. It is rewarding. That's why I'm like, This is why I say it can be frustrating and rewarding at the same time. For example, the spider boss on Fuchina. Oh, I died No, I died once on him. I beat him the second time. But you have to learn the pattern. You have to know when to use the gamepad, when to look at the screen, when you should be flying as the hover tank, and when to be at the normal tank. And so there are a lot of things to remember, but once you get it down, it becomes rewarding. And so the game really isn't as accessible as the Star Fox on the Nintendo 64, where you can really just pick up and play an arcade shooter. But if you stick with it and you learn the controls, the mechanics, when to use the gamepad, when to transform at certain times, it does become rewarding. So without further ado, now, overall, I did enjoy the game. One of the reasons why I did enjoy the game, a lot of Star Wars references, subliminal Star Wars references. You're fighting the huge ship, boom, 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 boom. You take out, you knock down the shield, you go inside the ship, boom, 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 boom. You take out the core, and then you gotta escape. What other movie is that in? Let me think. Star Wars. You know those enemies in Star Wars that they roll on the floor and then they open up, a shield comes around them and they start shooting you? They're in this game in a different form, of course. They roll around, open up, and they start shooting. Not exactly the same, but a couple of references, not gonna say a lot, a couple of references to Star Wars put a smile on my face. Y'all know how I like Star Wars, man. So without further ado, my overall score of this game, drum roll, I give this game a score of I. The game is I. It's a solid game at its core, but for me, the controls held it back just a little bit. Don't get me wrong, you get a hang of the controls after a while, but you're still, even after you get a hang of the controls, there's still gonna be points in the game where you're like, oh, this is awesome. Oh, this is frustrating. Oh, that was awesome. Oh, it's frustrating. So, sound off in the comment section. What are your thoughts when you pick up Star Fox Zero? You gotta let me know because you don't have the game yet by the time you're watching this. But sound off in the comment section. What are your thoughts on the game? Everything you've heard, everything you've seen. I'd like to know, man, if you are, not even if just you're a Nintendo gamer, if you are a gamer, period, if you're just anybody, you just want to hang out and listen to your boy, click that subscribe button to stay up to date on all things Nintendo. Peace.